They said the turbulence might be bad over Kansas. I googled the weather, and the clouds kind of look like they want to murder somebody.
It's just clouds, Tim. You're more likely to get hit by lightning on the ground than to die in a plane crash. Just count to 100 and you'll be fine.
Yeah, but we're not on the ground, are we? And counting, that, I mean, that's your idea of helping me here?
Welcome aboard Itty Bitty Air 666 to Denver, Colorado. Please ensure all carry-on items are stowed securely.
Oh, here's our seats. Window seat. Finally. You good?
Yeah, great. Middle seat. Remind me to never book these budget airlines again.
Hey, you got company. 14A's here.
Oh, excuse me. Here, let me move my bag away from you. Luis, he didn't even acknowledge me. So rude.
Some people hate small talk, Tim. More than you hate flying.
Oof, okay. We are in the air. Gravity's a lie. Physics is a scam.
You gonna make it, Tim?
Yeah. Just, that dude hasn't moved. Like at all. Not even like a blink.
Maybe he's sleeping with his eyes open.
Yeah, he's really pale. He's like paper. His hands are kind of weird too. They're real still.
Excuse me, can I get some peanuts?
Luis, he's wearing one of those little metal oxygen badges, you know? The ones they give to people who need extra assistance.
Honestly, you might be overthinking it, bro. Just turn on the TV screen and let's watch Anaconda.
But I saw the flight attendant walk by, but she didn't even look at him. She only offered drinks to us. It's almost like he wasn't even there.
Tim, you sure you're not just psyching yourself out?
Well, when I said hi, he didn't even flinch. I mean, he just kept staring forward, no blinking, he's not breathing. There's just nothing.
Maybe he's just tired.
No, I leaned forward. I looked at his reflection in the window. Luis, I saw the seat and I did not see him.
We'll be experiencing some turbulence. Please fasten your seatbelts.
God, I hate turbulence.
And get this, he's wearing an old pilot uniform. Look, it's like something out of the 1950s.
Tim, just ask for a cranberry vodka and some Xanax. You'll be fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are not fucking around. Please put on those damn seatbelts.
Okay, Luis, he just looked at me. I mean, he moved his mouth like he was telling me something, but nothing came out.
Maybe he's trying to tell you to mind your own fucking business. Oh my God.
I heard him whisper something.
What?
Yeah, he said, tell the pilot it's happening again.
Are you motherfuckers going to take us seriously or not? Put on those damn seatbelts. Also, we may lose power for 5 seconds. No big deal.
Tim, the lights just flickered.
Oh my God. Wait, what the hell? Luis, he's gone.
What?
Yeah, the man in 14A, the seat is empty.
The seatbelt's still buckled. Tight.
We never made it to Denver.
Welcome to Denver. Local time is 6:45 p.m. We hope you enjoyed your flight aboard Itty Bitty Airlines.
You okay?
Yeah, not sure. Oh, excuse me, miss. Who was the man sitting next to me? He was here for like half the flight, but he hasn't been back from the bathroom, I'm assuming?
Nobody was seated there, sir. That seat was intentionally left empty for the air marshal, but he didn't show up.
What? I swear there was a man in uniform sitting there.
Tim, you sure this Xanax isn't affecting you, buddy?
No, bitch. I'm right here. I'm a ghost.
No! No! Tim,
Yes, Luis.
what's up with your overacting here?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in now, which it's a podcast, so you'll all be tuning in at the exact same time. Luis made me overact, and I'm assuming he used the take of me overacting. So just want that on the record.
Yeah, this is think of it as one of those radio shows from the 19 whatevers when
40s.
when people would be around their radios and be listening to stories. That's what they're doing right now with us, Tim, except
No,
they
I
have their
know.
AirPods on and they're walking around their, neighborhood street doing a little exercise, or itty bitty listeners, or and they're listening to us tell them a story.
Or they're working in the morgue.
Or there too. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us again. Welcome to the Itty Bitty Horror Podcast with Luis and Tim. In this podcast, we discuss everything from horror movies to the scariest tales out there with a touch of humor.
With just a little touch.
Tim, how you been? How was the rest of your summer? We took 2 or 3 weeks off.
Well, I haven't done a whole lot, to be honest, except one major thing, which is that I moved. So,
Ooh, that's true. Yes, to our little listeners, itty bitty listeners, Tim moved from, the same area where he lives, but he just moved to a different apartment. It's
yes,
much nicer, and I'm assuming nicer, and closer
somewhat.
to work for everybody, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit more of like a walkable community, which is always nice, and happy about that.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, you've been to my apartment here in Oakland, and you know that, like, the area that I live in is just a very walkable area. And it's one of the reasons why I'll pay the high rent just to have a little, like, everything so close to me.
I know. I really do like your neighborhood, honestly. And I
Mhm.
think I told you that when I visited you last time. Oh, and when we recorded the Hawaii episode, which listeners you should listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember thinking, oh, I like this area. I miss the Bay Area, honestly.
Yeah, it's so like the weather. I mean, not to be one of those people like, oh, how's the weather? Your neck of the woods, but like everywhere across America, for our international listeners, the US is a huge country, but like everywhere, it's like 90 plus to 115
Yeah,
degrees all over the country.
really hot where I am on the East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, we're using Fahrenheit, not what's the other one? Celsius? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
But
Kelvin. No.
yeah, but here it's like, I shit you not, every middle of the day, it's like 12 o'clock and I'm wearing a sweater. At night, I'm wearing a thick jacket just to go to a bar to edit this episode. It's just so nice. I love it.
I know. I'm so
Mm,
jealous. Also, I
mhm.
read that it was apparently the coldest summer in the Bay Area
Yeah,
in like what, 40 years or something?
yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well,
Lucky.
I
Lucky.
know. Well, you know who doesn't like this kind of weather are tourists. Tourists that visit the Bay Area flying in
On planes,
on
maybe?
airplanes that may be haunted. Anyway, we may have kind of touched this in the past, but like both Tim and I have a huge fear of flying, or at least I don't know if I want to classify it as fear, more like anxiety, right?
Yeah, we both have flight anxiety. It's pretty, I guess it's
Hmm.
common, but we're
Yeah,
both pretty bad when it comes to flights, and I fly pretty regularly, and
yeah,
you would think I would have gotten better at it, and I have not.
I know. I mean, I haven't flown since I came back from Texas, like in early January, so it's been a while, and I'll be flying out next month, God willing, to visit you, Tim. But
I know.
it'll be the first time, like in what, 8-ish months that I've gotten inside a plane.
Yeah.
But I always have the same ritual, which I've mentioned to you in the past, and we kind of mentioned in the skit. I look like that person. I look like Kristen Wiig in Bridesmaids. Like I am holding on to the freaking
No, me too, exactly, by the way. Like I
yeah.
felt like that was an accurate depiction of what it's
Yeah,
like.
no, I am like semi sweating. I'm holding on to the little handles on the side, whatever they're called for the chair. And I'm like, if I have to cross my legs at a certain angle or something, just so or not even cross my legs, excuse me, I have to like push my feet against the metal of the chair down there because I'm thinking, like, well, if we crash, I'm like in a tight spot where like I'm pushing my legs, so I'm held tight together. In my mind, that
At
makes
least my
sense.
legs will impale me, but I'll be fine.
Exactly. But and then as soon as the plane takes off, immediately as it like gets off the runway and it goes towards the sky, the big blue sky, I
Oh my
immediately
God.
start
The
counting.
worst part of every flight
Mhm.
for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Me too. Not even the landing. It's always just a
No.
takeoff for me.
Oh no, I'm so relaxed actually. As soon as the pilot says that we are beginning our descent, even though we're like at the exact same level as we
Mhm.
were before that, before
Yeah.
he said it, I still immediately feel a little bit more relaxed. Like there's an end in sight and it'll all be okay.
What is it about that? What is it about the landing part that you and I feel comfortable with versus the takeoff?
I don't know. It's weird. I think I just don't like the physics of being in the air. And
Yeah.
anyone who's listening who has this same fear, you'll probably understand what I'm saying. It's like there's something about being in a giant tube hurtling through the atmosphere trapped with a bunch of people who you're just assuming are not crazy and are totally cool and gonna be fine and not rip open the emergency door suddenly.
Yeah.
You know, like, so stuff like that I feel like gets to me a little bit. And by the way, I have the
Mhm.
same kind of thing where I have like little rituals. Like I always listen to music when I take off.
I can't do that.
No, that's always what I do because I feel like if I listen to like a silly song, then like nothing bad can happen, because why would something bad happen when something silly is also happening?
For me, it's the complete opposite. I feel like if I put a music, any type of music or music or a podcast or anything, I feel like God's like, oh, you're distracted. You know what? Let me fucking scare you to death right now and
Oh
cause some
my God.
turbulence.
Okay, see, this is how insane both of us sound. Like, to anyone who's not
Yeah.
scared of flying, we're like, oh no, here's the reason listening to music will totally prevent something bad from happening. I
Yeah,
mean,
our regular itty bitty listeners who travel a lot as well, and they're listening just like, I actually love the
the takeoff.
the takeoff and just being up in the air, it's so freeing or whatnot. And you two are weird.
Gosh, God bless you, people who can do that, but that is not
Yeah,
us.
no, easily no. And again, just to finish my thought real quick, is as
Oh,
soon as the
I
plane
guess.
takes as soon as a plane takes off, I count from 200 down to 0 in reverse.
Right.
And by the time I get to 0, they do the little announcement about applying for a credit card or some shit like that. I don't know what they do. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know. And by the way, I was gonna say, if I could finish my thought too,
Meh.
I was just gonna say that when I'm on a flight, another ritual I have, similar to some of yours, is I often will be like, okay, I need to get up and use the restroom, and I will literally use the restroom like a bunch of times during a flight because I just need like a change of pace and I need to like move around to make me stop thinking that I'm in a plane.
You know what's funny? Yeah, I know that kind of that makes sense because like for me, if I'm in the restroom and there's a little bit of turbulence, I'm fine. But
Yeah.
if I'm sitting
Same.
down, if I'm sitting down
Same.
on a chair strapped and it's
Me
turbulence, I'm
too.
like,
Yeah, no, literally me too. When I have a seatbelt on in my seat, which is as I guess as safe as you can be during turbulence, I'm like terrified. And when I'm in a bathroom, I'm like, oh, it's a little rattly in here.
yeah. And then if something were to happen, like not only would you smash to the ceiling of the bathroom, but all the shit would fly up and hit you in the face.
Oh, I know. I would just be, they would just open the bathroom later in the wreckage and be like, oh God.
This guy really had some fucking diarrhea problems.
Yeah.
Wait, have you heard of the true story of Oceanic 815?
No.
You haven't heard of Oceanic 815?
No.
Oh, there used to be this airline.
Was it called Oceanic 815?
Well, I mean, it's Oceanic Airlines, and the number for the flight was 815.
Is it like Pan Am?
Are you done being funny?
No. I have many more funny little quips to say.
Yeah, you're doing funny little quips, excuse me, to distract yourself from being in the mindset of somebody who survived this, because one person survived the entire crash.
Oh,
Actually, that's not true. That's not true.
that happened recently though. There was a flight where that happened recently. One man survived. That was like an Air India plane, right?
Oh, some of our listeners are laughing right now, but anyway, because they're like these two. Well, they're laughing for a different reason, but I'll mention it at the end of the story. There was an airline called Oceanic Airlines, and this specific one called 815 it actually only had 6 survivors out of like 200 plus.
Oh my God.
And none of them were like the staff, the pilot, or anything like that. And the plane, according to this person, his name was Jack. Jack something, I forgot his name. I think it was like Shepherd or something. Anyway,
Bauer?
yeah, I don't remember, but they crashed into the ocean near an island.
Oh my
And
God.
he said that when they were there in the island, they kept hearing like different monsters and noises.
Oh, please. Okay. All right. You've had your little fun.
This was from Lost.
Was there a polar bear too at one point?
Yeah, there was a polar bear, and it took out the rest of the people. And there were only 6 survivors.
You know what?
And
You suck. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it does. Okay, last thing before we move into the episode, Tim.
Okay.
My fear of flying, I think it grew from Final Destination. Have you seen the first one?
No, I've actually not. I've only seen like those famous scenes that everyone knows from Final Destination where all the metal poles go into someone when they're driving.
Yeah. Well, those are wooden poles, but okay. Or maybe metal poles in some. I don't
Pardon
remember.
me.
But in the very first movie, as you may have known, at least, just pop culture, the movie itself was supposed to be originally an X-Files episode, but they turned it into a movie. Yeah, they turned it into a movie instead because they thought it was such a good idea. But in the movie, and the whole movie doesn't revolve around this one thing that I'm about to tell you, but that's how the movie starts, and that's what traumatized me.
Oh no.
In so many different ways. That's when people ask me like, oh, what's one of the scariest horror movies out there for you. Like for me specifically, I would be like, well, it's not necessarily that it was scary, but it definitely traumatized me in a way of how I see life now.
Doesn't everyone have a scene from Final Destination that makes them now afraid
Oh
of
yeah, of
X,
everything.
Y, or Z?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can't go get laser surgery or get tanning, or I can't board a plane, or I can't drive. And now like people joke about like on TikTok, you see it all the time. People like, oh, I definitely don't want to drive behind some a truck with logs.
Yeah,
'Cause, you know.
exactly.
But in this Final Destination, the first one, what happens is a group of people, students, they're going to go to Paris. And then one of the kids, Devin Sawa, if you remember him, he was so cute. I used to have a crush on him when I was little.
Oh,
The point that I'm trying to make here is that he gets in the plane and then he, when you open the tray in front of you to put it down to put your like whatever,
yeah.
he realizes like the knob is broken, so the tray just falls on him. I was like, oh, okay, that's shitty.
Oh,
And then something else happens, and then these two really hot girls go up to him. He's like, hey, can we sit here? Because blah 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 blah. I forgot what they say. And he goes, sure. And then the plane takes off, and then little things start to happen, and then the plane just starts to burst. The wing has fire, and then the whole plane gets engulfed in flames, obviously.
Can I just say I knew doing this episode was a bad idea for most of us, and now we're moving on with it. So let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. So may as well just like rip the band-aid off.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up and it turns out it's a premonition. So he plays around with the little tray thing and it falls apart. And then the two girls come back and it's like, hey, can we sit here? He's like, oh my God, it's happening. So he starts saying like, we need to get off the plane, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the whole movie revolves around that premonition and who's going to be next to die. But that instilled in me a huge fear of flying. I don't know why. It's not like I've had little trays that break off or anything, but it's just like I see tape on the
Then
wind.
clearly you've never flown Spirit, but anyway.
No, I have flown Spirit one time from work, but those motherfuckers flew me 6 hours.
Oh boy. Oh, you flew 6 hours.
6 hours from like the Bay Area all the way to Baltimore, and
oh my God.
it was just like the worst experience. But I'm just saying, like, when you're on a plane and you look out the window, you already have that anxiety with flying and whatnot, and then you see the wing has tape, or you
forget it. Oh my God.
I know, it's just like in little things like here and there. The flight attendant's like, oh, if anybody saw a huge bolt, can you turn it in? It belongs to the beverage cart. They're like, what? That's from the Golden Girls, but still.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say, by the way, you remember the famous, of course, Twilight Zone episode with a plane, right?
No, I don't. I didn't see Twilight Zone as much as you did. So go ahead, Timmy. Your turn.
Oh, okay.
Tell the audience.
As usual, our listeners get brought into a story about a Twilight Zone and an X-Files episode.
They don't mind it.
No, they don't mind. They like those shows.
Yes.
And I don't blame you, listeners. I like them too. And the one, I believe it's called Nightmare at 30,000 feet. It might be like Nightmare at 20,000 or 10,000 feet, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
And it has William Shatner in it before he did Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And he's this passenger on a plane. He's a nervous flyer. And the episode is really kind of silly, actually. It's a little bit melodramatic.
Yeah.
It's not really that scary compared to there's some actual Twilight Zone episodes which are like legitimately scary to this day. But
yeah,
he basically looks out onto the plane wing. It's like a rainy night. He's flying. He's afraid of flying. And then he sees a gremlin walking on the wing, messing with the wires. And he freaks out and tries to tell the flight attendant that there's something outside, and she doesn't believe him, and no one on the plane believes him. And I think at some point they try to like drug him or something.
Yeah.
And at one point, the gremlin is really close to the window and he has kind of a gross face.
But what ends up happening?
I think he just ends up like, he ends up literally. What does he end up doing? I think he breaks through the window actually at one point.
It just kills everybody. What the hell? He just like
they all get sucked out into oblivion. No.
Kind of like Friday the 13th with like the mom at the end of the movie where she gets sucked through a little window.
Yeah, the balloon mom.
Yeah. The balloon mom. I said Nightmare on Elm Street. What did I say?
You said Friday the 13th, but it was Nightmare on Elm Street.
I meant Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes. Well,
anyways, the point is the Twilight Zone episode ends with him breaking open the window and they have to land. It's an emergency landing. And I think even in the end, no one believes him. So it's kind of,
yeah.
I don't know.
And then just suddenly you see Kristen Wiig come out. It's like, there's a colonial woman on the plane. She's churning butter.
That is what she's referencing. When you heard that
makes
joke.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense now. It was when you were saying that, I was like, okay. Listeners, I apologize. We just talked about our own anxieties and whatnot, but that's not even today's topic.
It's not. It's true. Not at all.
Actually, no. What we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be discussing 3 real-life incidents of horrors from the sky. Some are speculations, conspiracy theories, and ghosts.
Oh, ghosts?
Oh.
Question mark? Oh.
Yeah, so we're going to be
You'll
talking
have
about...
to see.
You gotta listen. But yes, listeners, connect the dots here, okay?
Connect the dots, listeners. Figure this out. You're smart enough. I know you are.
I know you are, okay? You guys have PhDs and medical science
MDs.
degrees, MDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can figure this out. And if you don't, neither do Tim and I.
No, we won't know then if you can't figure it out.
Yeah, we're 2 bozos just talking.
We
Okay.
are, as you could probably tell at this point.
Yes. But okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do first a little history of why people are afraid of flying, and then we'll talk about those 3 stories. Y'all ready, listeners? Tim, are you ready? Actually,
Y'all ready for this?
y'all ready for this?
Do.
So it'll bump up. Anyway, are you ready, Tim?
I am ready.
You wanna-
Except I'm not. This is a scary topic.
Man, that's what you say right now. You're gonna be later on. It's like, I don't buy that. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that for a second. Well, we'll have it. We'll have to see, Luis. Will
Yeah.
I be the Scully of this episode, or will you?
Yeah, both of us will be Mulder.
Well, you just okay. I said we'll have to see, and then you just decided what would end up happening.
We'll be Mulders. But anyway, here's a little bit of history of where fear of flying came from.
Flying. It's one of the greatest achievements of modern humanity. Metal birds soaring thousands of feet above the earth, carrying hundreds of lives across continents and oceans in mere hours. Yet beneath this marvel lies a deep, ancient fear. A fear not just of heights, turbulence, or mechanical failure, but of the unknown. For as long as people have taken to the skies, stories have circulated of planes that vanished without a trace. Airliners disappearing into thin air, swallowed by storms or mysterious forces, leaving behind nothing but questions and silence. No distress call, no wreckage, and no survivors. Just empty skies and endless speculation. These vanishings have haunted the minds of travelers and crew alike. What could cause such disappearances? Mechanical failure? Rogue weather? Or something more inexplicable? It's in that silence, that void, where fear takes root, and where ghost stories begin to form. Flight attendants and pilots sometimes whisper about unseen passengers, figures glimpsed in the corner of their eyes or felt as cold presences in empty seats. A shadow moving silently past the aisles, an unexplained chill that freezes the blood, a voice calling out when no one else is near. Many say these apparitions are the souls of those lost to the skies, souls trapped between earth and heaven, forever journeying on flights that never land. These stories are rarely shared openly, kept behind closed cockpit doors and whispered among crew during long layovers, but the fear is real. It's the fear that something unseen rides with you, that the very metal of the plane might carry echoes of tragedy and sorrow, that the past lingers in the hum of the engines, the flicker of the cabin lights, and the creak of the overhead bins. Psychologists say fear of flying is rooted in a loss of control and the sheer improbability of surviving a crash. Statistics show that aviation is remarkably safe, but statistics don't calm the heart pounding when the plane hits turbulence, or the mind racing when the altitude warning chimes unexpectedly. And when a plane goes down, it often does so far from help, over vast oceans, dense forests, or endless mountains. Sometimes the wreckage is never found. You know, it's kind of true. I mean, the wreckage is never found. It's true a lot of times. And like with the Malaysian Airlines, for example, which of course we're going to bring up because, you know, makes sense in this topic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I do feel like that's kind of part of the fear.
When planes crash in the middle of like the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic or whatever.
Or the
like,
Bermuda Triangle.
Well, that's another story. But yes, what are the chances they're going to find you? Especially if the black box is like flung over like 300 miles away and I'm like, that's not where I am. And you're like in a little life raft by yourself.
You're assuming though that you even make it. I mean, this is the part, actually, I mean, honestly,
true.
Part of it for me is I just think that if you crash, it's done.
Yeah, it's one and done.
I mean, you know.
No, but sometimes people survive.
Yeah, they do, I guess. But I mean, how often?
Well, we'll find out.
The mystery of the missing becomes a ghost story itself. passed from passenger to passenger, whispered in crowded airports, shared in hushed tones on late-night flights. See, if I was on a late-night flight and someone whispered a horrible story to me in a hushed tone, I think I would change seats.
Yeah, I would be like, no, not only that, I would be like, you know what?
You know what?
Let me go to the flight.
I need some earplugs and a movie.
No, but if this happened like at the airport lounge,
Oh my God, yeah.
I would be like, you know what? Cancel my flight.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim, I'm not visiting you after all. I'm gonna go home and sleep and cry by myself.
Yeah. At the same time.
Yes, and then I get in an Uber and the fucking Uber crashes into the ocean. Like, oh no.
Oh no. In these moments, the flying public and airline crews alike are reminded that the sky is not just a pathway for modern travel. It's a place of memories, some joyful, some tragic, where the boundary between the living and the lost grows thin. Some say that if you sit quietly on a red-eye flight, you might feel a presence beside you, a passenger who doesn't board or disembark, a soul forever caught in the endless journey, unable to find rest. So the next time you buckle your seatbelt and look out into the endless dark sky, remember that every flight carries more than just travelers. It carries the echoes of the vanished, the whispers of the unseen, and the silent watch of ghosts who still roam the aisles. Ooh, very Rod Serling of me there. Did you hear that? Did you like that?
I don't know who that is. You're setting me up for
host
failure.
Of the Twilight Zone.
Oh,
He's the guy who narrates the beginning of every episode of the Twilight Zone.
I thought that was Robert Stack. Oh, that's Unsolved Mysteries. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not Robert Stack.
Thank you for the little history of why people, not even history, it's just like a little summarization of why people are afraid of flying, right?
Well, it was your summary, so you're welcome.
I know, but I'm just saying, Tim, since you verbalized it for our listeners,
Yes.
that it's just the idea of like, yes, not only am I anxious already as a flyer, but imagine being anxious with a ghost. Like, come on, man. Like, can I just chill? Can I just be in the plane and just mind my own business? Why does it
Can I be terrified without ghosts involved?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Well, Tim, now we're going to go into 3 different stories. Now, one of them is actually a ghost story.
Okay.
The second one is more of a disappearance that happened.
Oh.
And the third one is a recent incident that happened this year in 2025 when
God.
we won't mention any names, but because of somebody, there's been a lot of like plane incidents. So, we'll get into it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the first one is called Ghosts of Flight 401. Now, this is a true story, by the way, in the sense that people did recount this. It's not just something I found on Reddit, but I will list the links to these stories in the show notes.
Sounds good. People can look it up then.
December 29th, 1972. The clock neared midnight when Eastern Airlines Flight 401, a Lockheed L-1011 TriStar, descended into the darkness over the Florida Everglades and never rose again. Departing from JFK Airport in New York and bound for sunny Miami, the wide-bodied jet carried 163 passengers and 13 crew members. But just before midnight, confusion in the cockpit turned a routine flight into a nightmare.
This is a Pleasure Craft Odessa calling port control.
The issue? A single small light. The nose gear indicator failed to illuminate. It was just a burnt-out bulb. But while the crew focused on diagnosing the minor malfunction, no one noticed the aircraft was descending. Slowly, silently, fatally. Tim.
Oh no.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Captain Bob Loft, First Officer Bert Stockstill, and Flight Engineer Don Repo all worked to troubleshoot the issue. Repo climbed below the cockpit to check the gear manually. Meanwhile, Loft accidentally nudged the yoke, disengaging the autopilot. Nobody realized.
Oh my God. That's so ridiculous. How could that even happen? That sounds like a thing from like the movie Airplane. Like it just sounds like a fake thing. Like, oh, whoops, the autopilot's disengaged.
We'll say that's to the family of the surviving people or the lost ones. How about that?
How about that? What? That's sad.
It sounds like you're making fun of it. Okay.
No, I'm laughing at the fact that oh, never mind.
At 227 miles per hour, Tim, Flight 401 slammed into the swamp. The left wing hit first. Is that funny to you?
It's just because you went slammed into the swamp.
Well, guess what? The left wing hit first, then the engine, then the fuselage shattered like glass. The crash site stretched 1,600 feet through sawgrass and mud. "101 lives were lost, but 75 survived, including 67 passengers and 8 of the 10 flight attendants. Injured, dazed, many were saved by the sheer softness of the Everglades and the quick response of 2 frog hunters, Robert Butt Marquis and Ray Dickinson. They were hunting frogs in the middle of the night. Imagine, like,
Isn't it like easy to catch frogs?
well, not only that, but like imagine you and I, Tim. We are both Robert Butt Marquis and Ray Dickinson, like you and me. Let's just say Luis and
Okay.
Tim.
Can I be Ray? Okay.
Yeah, sure,
okay.
sure. And we're both like in the swamps. Hey, Timmy, did you find any frogs for us to eat frog legs later with our ladies?
Well, I surely did.
Holy shit, what's that up there?
Whoa!
And it's just a fucking plane like flying towards us at the Everglades. I would have a traumatic frog hunting experience. I would vow never to hunt frogs again.
I know. I'd be like, I'm done with this line of work.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I would probably, the frogs that I did hunt that day, I would actually crown them as the princess frog and the prince of whatever.
Oh,
And
that's
make them,
nice.
yeah, and just make them my little reminders to never go frog hunting again.
And would you keep them alive then at that point?
Well, yeah, of course. And then once I'm tired, I would just get some, cook them and have some frog legs.
Oh.
Marquis, burned by jet fuel, ferried survivor after survivor to safety, in darkness, in waist-deep water, a hero. But the story of Flight 401 doesn't end there, Tim.
Oh.
In the months following the crash, Eastern Airlines employees began to whisper of strange occurrences, ghostly sightings of the dead. Reports emerged from flight attendants and pilots who claimed to have seen Captain Loft and Don Repo aboard other L-1011s, especially one aircraft, N318EA.
I saw him, a man in full uniform, just standing in the galley, but there was no one there.
Passengers too spoke of a uniformed man warning of mechanical issues before vanishing. One engineer claimed Repo appeared beside him during a pre-flight inspection, muttering,
There's no need to worry. I've already checked it. And I'm a little hoarse. I'm a little hoarse too.
The reason? Parts from the doomed Flight 401 had been salvaged and installed in other TriStars. Is that legal? Can they still do that?
I don't know. Maybe back then, but yeah, I don't think now.
Is it more like a symbolic type of thing, or is it like important parts? Do you know what I mean?
Wait, I'm confused. So the parts were they were removed? Why?
Well, because they probably thought it was like, hey, this, even though the plane crashed, we can probably still use these seats because they're in good condition. Or the
It's kind of
wheels.
cheap. Can't they build seats? I mean, how expensive are those seats?
I don't know. It's Eastern Airlines. Maybe that's why they're no longer in business, because they kept doing this shit.
That makes sense. They went the way of Pan Am.
Only planes with those parts were haunted. As sightings spread, panic mounted within the airline. Eastern executives denied everything. Employees were threatened with dismissal for spreading ghost stories. Yet quietly, those salvaged parts were removed.
the actual company told them, like, if you spread a ghost story,
Yeah.
you're done here, Wilkinson. You're done.
Yeah, you ain't getting no insurance. You're not getting any retirement. We're going to cut you off.
We one ghost story, Wilkinson. One. And you're done.
Eventually, the sightings ceased because the company went fucking bankrupt.
Their priorities were not in order. They were worried about hushing up ghost stories and salvaging seats.
A section of its floor rests in a museum in Miami, and some claim objects from the crash reside in the occult museum of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Oh, Ed and Lorraine Warren always come up on this podcast.
The tale was immortalized in John G. Fuller's book, The Ghost of Flight 401, and in 1978 NBC movie. Lawsuits followed. Skeptics dismiss it all, but some airline veterans never stopped believing.
They held on to that feeling.
I was gonna make that joke.
Well, I made it first. So.
Was it grief, trauma, or something else that lingered in those cabins, Tim? On those wings, was the final duty of Captain Loft and Engineer Repo to protect the living from beyond the grave?
Ooh.
Flight 401 was lost to the swamp, but perhaps not all of it stayed there. Well, Tim, what are your thoughts on this story? Eastern Airlines.
Well, number one, I can see why Eastern Airlines went out of business. And number two is that I didn't really fully understand the super haunted element of this.
Well, it's not like a haunted house where if I sat down, it's like, oh, the ghost keeps showing up and keeps like pulling my hair or switching my my dildos around. No, it's just sightings. That's
The
all
Monday
it is.
one is where the Tuesday one should be.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. They are saying that other people who worked at Eastern Airlines saw their former colleagues, the pilots, the engineers, etc. And they're like saying to them, like, hey, don't worry about it. I've already checked everything. And I'm like, if I were that flight attendant, let's say, and a ghost appeared to me, it's like, hey, don't worry about it, girl. We checked it. I'm gonna be like, well, first of all, when you checked it on your original flight, you fucking crashed. How about that?
Yeah.
Throw it back at them. And they'd be like, whoa, that was way too far, said the ghost.
Whoa, you went way too far with that comment.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no. So I think that's
I'm
what they're
amazed that it crashed in the swamp, though. Isn't that amazing to you that it could crash in a swamp and be okay?
Well, no, it's just like, planes crash we were talking about this earlier. Like they crash alongside mountains in the ocean.
Do they though? Do they? Are there that many crashes that happen where the plane ends up like the people on it end up okay? I feel like it doesn't.
No, but you do hear stories of survivors, people who, let's say a plane lands, maybe the pilot is like, okay, we are out of gas and we are nowhere near a runway or an open field, so we're gonna try to like survive. And maybe it's usually like smaller planes, right? And if it lands like in the snow or something, and then people are freezing to death and they eat each other up. Did they have like a Netflix show about that recently?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was like a Spanish show or something. But yeah, there have been cases of people surviving plane crashes.
No, I know, of course.
67 or 60 plus people survive. That's pretty considering it's a plane crash, that's still pretty amazing that they survived.
That is amazing. I know. I guess it's good that it was a swamp, but in my mind, I would think a swamp would be worse. Like there would be all these trees and it would just like wreck everything.
You're thinking of a jungle, no? Actually, I don't know what I don't know what swamps look like. I apologize for Floridian listeners. Okay, well, the next story is about the one that you mentioned, Tim, Malaysia Airlines 370.
We had to mention it, listeners. Just after midnight, a routine commercial flight rolled out onto the runway. The weather was calm, the crew was experienced. 239 passengers were on board, families, couples, solo travelers, children. They were heading west, on a red-eye, crossing international airspace. Nothing unusual, just another flight. For the first 38 minutes, everything was smooth, cruising altitude reached, cabin lights dimmed, and then the last communication.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
They were supposed to check in with the next control tower, but they never did. No distress call, no transponder, and no reply. Within minutes, the aircraft vanished from radar. Civilian systems lost them, but military radar still caught something, a blip. The plane had turned sharply off course, heading somewhere else. For 6 more hours it flew, in silence. No calls, no texts, no beacons. Just a ghost in the sky, drifting deeper and deeper into open ocean. Where it went, no one knows. Why it turned remains a mystery. It should never have been possible. Modern aircraft are tracked, logged, and monitored with relentless precision. And yet this one simply disappeared. And from the people on board, not a sound. No attempts to reach loved ones, no emergency contacts, only silence. The cabin remained a tomb of still air, floating somewhere above the sea. Experts traced faint handshakes between the plane and satellites, automatic signals proving the jet was still moving along after contact was lost. No one had flown that path. No one should have flown that path. And yet, there it was. After days, then weeks, no wreckage was found. No oil slick, no fuselage, nothing. An international search, the largest in aviation history, swept vast stretches of open sea. Months passed. Eventually, tiny pieces began to appear. Wing fragments, a flap, scattered and weather-beaten on remote shores. No bodies, no black box, no real closure.
You expect turbulence? Maybe a systems fault? But silence, complete erasure. That's the kind of thing we joke about in training, not something that actually happens.
There's no procedure for this. We don't train for vanishing.
Many suspect a deliberate act. Someone may have overridden the system, changed the course manually. But who and why? No confirmed motive, no confirmed suspect, just theories. Then came the stories from other flights, other crews. Attendants feeling cold spots in the aisle. Passengers asking about strangers seated beside them. Strangers who weren't on the manifest. Reports of extras, meal trays accounted for passengers who didn't exist. Wait logged with no one there. Even today, travelers and pilots whisper about ghost flights, cabins where no one speaks, unscheduled planes from control towers, only to vanish when hailed. Some claim to have heard that final call, echoing over unused radio frequencies, a pilot's voice long after his flight disappeared. The official investigation remains inconclusive. Mechanical error? Maybe. Human sabotage? Possibly. But no one knows for sure, and perhaps no one ever will. Now it lives on as a ghost story, not only in whispered rumors, but in flight manuals, in search logs, and in the eyes of every passenger who peers out at a black ocean from 35,000 feet.
So, Tim,
Yes, Luis.
there's actually a documentary that I saw on Netflix called MH370, The Plane That Disappeared. I think it's multiple episodes, excuse me, but I don't, and I may be wrong for our listeners who maybe did see the same documentary, but I don't think they actually ever discovered anything.
Wow.
But there are people whose hobby is looking up like this whole plane because again, it's a weird story about a plane disappearing and they just didn't find anything. Yeah, maybe they found some seats in the ocean and whatnot, but they still couldn't tie it to Malaysia Airlines. And a lot of these folks, what they do is they go on Google Maps type of thing, like something similar, and they start looking around that area to see or satellite data, excuse me, to try to see if they can find something. And so there's like, oh, you can, like, if you zoom in, you can find like a little life raft or a piece of the plane floating in the ocean. And some man went all the way to like where it supposedly crashed, and he said that he found something, that basically went from the ocean into the sand, which was like a remnants of the plane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really long, and again, it's very sad because a lot of the people who are being interviewed, I believe, are families of those who are lost.
Oh, that is
and
sad.
they're like crying, and they're just like blaming and yelling at like the airlines and political
Of
folks
course.
and whatnot, saying like,
Of
what the hell, like,
course.
where are they? And it's so weird, right? If you think about it, it's like, how does a plane disappear?
I know. Honestly, I mean, I feel like the Malaysian airline thing truly is one of those like mysteries that we're always going to remember. I feel like maybe people in the 1940s would think of like Roswell or something. I don't know, whatever they might think. And our thing is going to be like the Malaysian airline disaster that happened, right?
Yeah, like our more modern disappearances, because we talked about like the Bermuda Triangle and planes disappearing and whatnot, but like this legitimately, excuse me, did disappear. And
Yeah, a real disappearance. Like no one knows what happened. I mean, it also does kind of go back to that point we made in that one about underwater creatures and things like that, about how the ocean is like so vast.
Yeah.
And we actually can't, like, as much as we think we completely know it and everything, it's just too vast for us to even be able to find anything,
Yeah, and they say like we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the ocean.
Right, the bottom of
and
the ocean.
The
Yeah.
bottom of the ocean, excuse me. And the plane could legitimately just be down there. Other conspiracy theories say the plane was either hijacked and taken to like a different country, and people are being held against their will.
Oh my
Other
God.
people say, other people are saying that no, the plane just went straight into the ocean. It exploded midair. But again, if that happened, you would find the black box or remnants of
Right.
whatnot. And then people like Luis and Tim say that maybe the plane went to a different dimension and maybe it's somewhere else.
That's our theory that we're going on.
This last story is about a recent incident in Toronto, Tim. I'm
Ooh,
pretty sure you remember this.
Toronto. The locals call it Toronto.
Oh, but we shared these stories to each other. You know, like when all these plane incidents were happening in the beginning of the year, we constantly shared the stories to each other on Instagram. Well, if you remember, a plane landed upside down on the tarmac. And this is a story
Oh my God. I do remember that so vividly. I remember the video. I can't deal with that. But I mean, a lot of people made it.
Yeah. And this is a story of one of the folks that witnessed this from another plane. So the link to the story and others can be found, like I mentioned, in the show notes. Again, take this story with a grain of salt because this was found. You know what? I'm not going to diss them because it's from a YouTube channel and I don't want to diss them and say like, oh, these people are making up stories about what
Take it
happened.
with a grain of salt because it's a pretty rough source.
Yeah, but you never know. Maybe you're real. I've never been afraid of flying. I'm not saying I love it. Nobody loves crawling through security barefoot or eating microwave pasta besides a stranger who smells like beef jerky. But it's never rattled me. You get in, you get out. Flying is good when you're 30,000 feet up. I've been flying in and out of Toronto Pearson every 8 to 10 months for years. Same routine. Pack light, grab a Tums, and zone out to a podcast until wheels up. But this year felt different. If you remember, Tim, that stretch, you know what I mean. Disappearing planes, mid-air systems failures, landing gear not deploying. Nobody said it out loud, but we all felt it. The tension at every gate, the pause when the pilot's voice came on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard.
I'd almost cancel. Email was drafted. Finger hovering over send. But my friend Sarah had just had her second kid, that bitch. I hadn't seen her in 2 years, so I pushed it down and followed the script. I got to the airport early that day. It was snowing. I hate snow. That dull, silent kind of snow. What's so funny, bitch?
I hate snow. It doesn't say I hate snow.
Well, guess what? I got a window seat that day. It was amazing. I was at gate D23. From there, I could see everything. Blinking plane lights, fog rolling in. Your standard runway ballet.
What do you mean I don't earn any fucking miles for this flight?
My flight was delayed 30 minutes. No big deal. It's Toronto in February. But then, the plane dropped out of the clouds, and fast. Way too fast. It didn't descend, it fell. Nose down, no correction. The engine was screaming, even through glass. People stood, not panicked, just alert. That kind of silence where everyone holds their breath because something's wrong. It hit hard, Tim. Not rough landing hard. Violent. The wheels shattered on impact. Right wing clipped the ground. The whole fuselage twisted, then flipped. The 737 rolled like an empty soda can and landed belly up. Inside the terminal, not a scream, not a gasp, just silence. People froze like statues. Ice locked on the wreckage. Fire crews swarmed the wreck. People started filming. One guy next to me whispered,
Jesus Christ!
They finally forced open the cabin door, smoke pouring out behind them, and then they started coming out, the passengers. Slowly, crawling and limping.
Some ran 3 steps and collapsed. Others just stood there, blank-eyed, phones in their hands but not using them. I counted. 20. No, 40. No, 80. All of them survived. You'd think people would have clapped. They didn't. They just watched in horror.
Attention passengers at gates D20 through D28. All departures delayed due to an ongoing incident. Additional updates will follow.
Ongoing incident? That made it sound like a plumbing leak, not a goddamn plane cracking open in front of us. I started sweating, not from fear, from shock. That aftershock that creeps in after your brain tries to convince you everything is normal. I texted Sarah, "Bitch, I'm not seeing you. Just saw a plane crash. Good luck to your baby." She called immediately.
Good luck to your baby.
She called immediately, and I couldn't pick up. I didn't know how to speak without breaking apart, Tim.
Good luck to your baby. That's all I could say.
That's all I could say, or text. 4 hours passed. Nobody left the window. Nobody even stood. The woman in the red coat, oh, I'll never forget her. She just stood in the snow, Tim. Arms at her sides.
The snow!
Yes, mouth open, like she hadn't decided if she was alive or dead yet. Eventually, they moved her behind a truck. We heard a blast. She was shot.
No.
She disappeared.
Attention passengers, flights to Halifax
Attention
are delayed.
passengers, flight to Montreal are canceled.
Nobody fought. We all knew no one was flying out tonight. Some people tried to rationalize it. Hydraulics. Pilot error. Snow. But no one could explain what I saw. That speed, that angle, how it twisted in the air like it had been yanked by God himself. I tried to call Sarah back. Bitch had the baby on the phone. I said, nope, not today.
Good luck to your baby, though.
I called her again because I was like, you know what? Fuck that baby, but I need to talk to her.
Oh,
And when she
God.
answered, I couldn't even form a sentence. Just sat there shaking. Damn, I'm so dramatic. I wasn't even in the plane.
I know.
I canceled my flight and took a cab home in silence. That night, I kept refreshing the news, waiting for a deep dive, a statement, anything. But it was already buried. A ticker headline. Aviation incident. No fatalities. Weather likely at fault.
No.
That's my Canadian accent. That's
Oh,
all.
weather likely at fault.
Yes. That's all. 80 people survive. No mention of how, no mention of why. I haven't flown since. I don't know if I ever will. Because sometimes a plane doesn't just fall out of the sky by accident, Tim. Sometimes it's pulled by Lola.
Lola. Why did I know Lola was going to come back into this?
Tim, what are your thoughts on that incident and her
What-
experience?
Yeah, I know. That was an interesting one to listen to in Eloise's accent. I remember that story, and all I can say is that that is truly terrifying. And
Yeah.
although not in, I mean, it could be a haunted thing. We don't know. I mean, do you have a thought on like the supernatural element of that, or do you feel like it's just what everyone was saying?
Oh, no. First of all, I think that this YouTube video dramatized a lot of it. Do you know what I mean? Made it very like dramatic for this. And of course, I re-edited this to make it even more dramatic. So like
Yeah.
we're taking away from the story itself. I don't think that actual people saw a woman in a red coat and then she disappeared behind a whatever, like, oh, maybe I'm a ghost or whatever. So I don't believe in any of the paranormal stuff, but I am definitely afraid of like me being at the airport waiting for my flight and seeing a plane coming upside down and landing. Like, imagine being one of the passengers there.
God, I know. I can't
Mhm.
even. I don't want that to happen. And I don't even like talking about it because I'm worried about it.
But yeah, so when you heard about this story, well, what like the original story, not this one specifically, what did you think?
I was just surprised that everyone managed to survive. I remember like just being like amazed at that, which is great. I mean, good. I thank God that that's even a possibility. And thank God for the pilot, honestly, whoever it was that managed to land it. It's one of those Sully type people that you always just praise, like your
the
pilot.
Hudson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also funny. I mean, not funny, but like weird if you think about it, because if I were in the plane and they're like, hey everybody, we're about to land, and I'm like, okay, let me put on my little belt.
Ooh, already. Yeah. Can I get one more White Claw before we land? Is that,
And
that
they're like,
possible?
sure, sure, sure. And then the plane just twists upside down. I'm like, oh, holy shit, what the fuck? Like everything would fall on me, obviously, right? Like,
Yeah, it would. Specifically you.
yeah, the dildo would fly out of my ass because I would be upside. Actually, no, why would it? Because it would be gravity would not be doing anyway.
If anything, it would keep it in.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it would just fly out. Well, not unless you get a dildo and listen to the hitchhiking episode.
Oh yeah, those are glass.
They'll just break inside your body. Yeah, no, I heard that story and I was thinking to myself, this is fucking wild. I imagine being on that plane. I would,
I
oh my
know.
God. Yeah, no, that is
I would die. I think I would just have a heart attack, and then they'd be like, "There was only one fatality, actually."
exactly. And it would be because of my dumbass as well, because I'd be like, also have a stroke with you. We both would die. It'd be like,
Yeah, we'd both be having strokes.
everybody was like, dude, we just had turbulence. That's all it was.
Yeah, we're all fine.
Like, the plane was upside down.
It was upside down. My dildo flew everywhere.
Well, Tim, okay, now that we've covered
Okay.
the 3 stories here, what are
Yeah.
your overall thoughts of the different airplane horror stories that we covered today? So we covered one that was supposedly haunted with Eastern Airlines because of their reused parts of the plane. We had
Yes.
the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines, and then we had this recent incident of an upside down airplane landing in Toronto.
Well, honestly, these kinds of stories do upset me. And they should upset you if you're being serious about your fear.
Yeah, no, I am.
Okay, but that being said, yes, I will still get on one. But these kinds of things go through my head all the time. I mean, honestly, I don't even need these kinds of scary stories about, airline issues because I already imagine all of this kind of thing. This is like,
I know, they're all happening right now.
yeah, exactly. And also, this is like when Black Mirror came out. I remember everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, like what a good show." I can't even imagine all the stuff they cook up. It's like these are all my correct fears. Like I fully
Yeah.
already fear all these things with technology.
Well, no, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need that additional trauma, as
Yes,
Jamie Lee Curtis
trauma.
would say. Trauma.
She would say trauma.
Trauma. I can't say it, but
Trauma.
tram. I have a hypothetical for you, Tim.
Okay, let's hear it.
Tim, let's say you decide to take a red eye to the Bay Area to come visit me.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, the plane takes off, and 30 minutes in, there's heavy turbulence.
Oh.
The flight attendants start to look panic, and then suddenly everything goes dark.
Oh God.
You look outside and see a glowing red orb.
A red
gets-
orb?
Yes, it gets closer to your window, and then it flashes, and 2 seconds later, you see daylight outside, and you're about to land in San Francisco. What would you think?
I guess I would assume that the red orb was just my dream because if I'm literally like, it's daylight 1 second later, I feel like I would just think maybe I was dreaming.
Tim.
What a good answer, huh?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good answer for an interview on a fucking 60 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. If I saw the red orb outside, I think I would probably try to tell the flight attendant. I'd be like, "Look out there! There's something there! Don't you see it? It's a red orb!"
And the flight attendant, you just turn to the side, you see the flight attendant, and she's just like shaking her head, and her eyes twitching, and like white, what is it? Like white foam is coming out of her mouth, and then
Is
her
she
whole
rabid?
and yes, and then her whole body explodes. And
What?
it's just a little
I've got
gray.
way bigger issues than the red orb.
There's a little gray alien that comes up to you. Is like, "Can I sit next to you? I'd like to play with the dildo up your asshole."
Our listeners have fully checked out of this story if we've gotten all the way back to the pervy alien.
Okay, so the red orb, what if it was a traveling alien coming close to you to take you aboard their spaceship?
Well, I feel like in your scenarios, aliens always want to take me aboard spaceships.
Yeah, because they want to experiment on you.
Right, exactly. So
Because they want to learn about their own sexuality.
Oh, I see. They're just
And they're
exploring.
like, oh, yeah, they're exploring, and they want to test it out with you.
I don't want any part of that. I don't want to be involved in their experiments, so I think I would fight them at every turn. And if there was a red orb, I would try to pop it, I guess.
From inside the plane.
Yeah, you're right. That'd be a problem. Well, okay, I would just stay away from the windows and see what happened.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, what do you think about that? And then if we have a Leonard Betts situation,
Uh-huh.
no, was his name Leonard Betts? Who is the guy that got abducted on mid-flight in the X-Files.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't.
I'm just saying if it was a situation like Max Fennig or something, in X-Files when he gets, abducted mid-flight, then in that situation, I would try to pop that glowing red orb with a little,
where like
needle or something.
Yeah, where the plane, the UFO or whatever, just opens the side of the plane, and then you float out of your chair, clutching your little briefcase.
Yeah, my
and
little
then
briefcase.
and then you just are taken out, and then boom, the plane crashed. Anyway.
Oh my God, you love a scenario where I'm in peril.
Mm.
Were you sipping a little glass of brandy in front of your fireplace when you said,
I wish.
Okay.
Tim, we've come to the end of the episode. I know this is kind of like the blind leading the blind, but
speak for yourself.
Well, no, because you admitted to it. But what advice would you give to our listeners who are also afraid of flying? They have high anxieties. They think the plane is going to land upside down. They think that maybe the plane will disappear, or they think that maybe the plane is haunted by a ghost. How would you calm their nerves? Would you tell them that maybe aliens don't exist? What would you say?
I would tell them something along the lines of, well, the ghost part and the disappearance part, you don't need to worry because that is not going to happen.
Planes do disappear.
Well, I know they do, but you see, what you have to do with people like that is you have to really tell them and insist that like nothing ever goes wrong and nothing is bad and everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just tell them that it's very rare and very unlikely. And I would tell them that, just sit back and listen to some music and
or the Itty Bitty Horror Podcast.
Or the Itty Bitty Horror Podcast, and maybe order some of those little Chex Mix bags that they pass around.
Yeah, and just like distract yourself. Also, maybe don't listen to this episode on a plane. How about that?
No.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't. Unless you're a real daredevil.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you enjoyed today's episode, then feel free to leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Yeah.
If you'd like for us to cover a specific story or topic, then email us at ittybittyhorror@gmail.com. You can also follow us on all social media under Itty Bitty Horror. Tim, what are we discussing next week, Timmy? Timmy boy, what do you think we're discussing? What are we doing?
Well, Luisi boy, I'll tell you. Next week, we are doing a horror movie double feature with the Latina queen, Jennifer Lopez. Listeners, Luis made me say Latina queen Jennifer Lopez in his notes.
She is.
Okay, well, sure, she is. Anyway, we will be covering Anaconda, the snake movie. Thanks for adding that note in the notes, too. And The Cell, a Silence of the Lambs light sci-fi psychological thriller. So don't miss out.
No, don't miss out on this.
Anaconda, The Cell.
Yeah. Well, thanks once again. And remember, even the smallest chills
can
linger
long after the stories end.
Man, we're like Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett.
I know, we really are. That's right.